comment section. Now, your question doesn't have to be on what we've been talking about. It can be on any topic as long as it's computer related. So head over there and you can be on the show or just give us a call, 772-340-1590. We did also want to remind you that we have technicians standing by ready to resolve computer problems. Our number in the shop is 772-878-5978, and we are located at 7190 South US 1 in Port St. Lucie. Again, the number is 772-878-5978. Computer problems?
You need a faster PC.
That's right. Yes, you do. And we are back ready to answer your computer questions, ready to help you resolve your computer problems in the shop as well. And we've been talking here about, and I do want to remind you, we are streaming this. Not only is this on the radio, WPSL 1590 AM, also WCNO 89.9 FM. Of course, you can also, in addition, you can also head on over to both of those stations are streamed live on TuneIn, as well as Alexa. So you can actually Google Home. You can actually listen to those. But we also are streaming the show on Facebook, as well as we're over on YouTube live right now as well. You can type your questions into the comment section of either of those videos. I am monitoring those throughout the show, so we'll be able to answer your questions. Also, one of the things that I wanted to just go over with you, we are talking about, we talked in the previous section about data, what data is, and why different reasons that it would be able, or different reasons that you would want to back up your data, and why would you want to back up your data? Well, most people have data that's important. And again, I mentioned before, some people say, well, I don't have any data, but then they don't really realize what data is. Data is videos. Data is, if you have videos of your grandkids, if you have pictures of your grandkids, pictures of your families, maybe you've downloaded something, you have you have actually a document you've been working on. Let me just give you two examples of two tales. And by the way, most of the time when people have a bad hard drive, we are able, in most cases, to recover their data. In fact, we just had a computer that came into our shop last week with they came in, and this came in as an emergency, and because they were working on it the day before, I believe, with their accountant, setting up payroll with QuickBooks. Their accountant was there, and all of a sudden the computer just shut down and would not boot back into Windows. And so we tested it, and it had a bad hard drive. And this was pretty significant. It was the failure was pretty significant. So significant that we couldn't actually copy the data. We couldn't, we connected a lot of times. We connect drives to our computer, and then we start copying the data over to another computer, and we're not able to get the data. And so what we were in this case, we weren't able to get the data. Most of the time we are, but in this case, the drive was so bad that we weren't able to get the data. So what we actually did in this instance is we went ahead and we did a data transfer, which actually makes a mirror of the drive to another drive. And that first data transfer, we actually started it on I think Friday of, well, what was it? Actually, it was we started on Thursday of last week. So this was the day before New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve, and then Friday was New Year's Eve. We were here until 2 the data transfer was still running. When we came in Monday, um, after the New Year weekend, the data transfer had failed. So we attempted with another program, and that program did not see the drive properly. So we started again with that first program, attempting to do a data transfer. The first day, it had made some progress, but literally, when you look across the computer screen and you see, spanning from one side of the computer screen to another side of the computer screen, almost, maybe an inch or two in from each side, you see a progress bar, and really only a very small portion of that was finished that first day. The next day, it was about twice as much, but it still didn't look like it was actually making a huge amount. I mean, it still was actually only had processed maybe 1/6 of the way after 2 full days of this transfer. Well, the third day was yesterday, and we actually were able to get all of that. I think the third day might have been the day before, but we were able to get all of the data off of that drive. Whether it was Thursday or yesterday, I don't remember 100%, but we were able to get all of the data off of that drive, which was important because there were business documents, there were spreadsheets, there were this customer has been doing they do construction jobs, and they've been doing all of their invoicing with Excel spreadsheets. Now, it's I did tell them that there's some easier ways to track things using QuickBooks, using other software, but this is the way they've been doing it. And they had backups of some of that information, some of that data, but not all of it. And so it was very good that we were able to get that data for them. Secondly, we were able to in addition to that, we were also they also had pictures and they didn't have backups of these pictures. These are family pictures. They didn't have backups of these. If you have certain members of your family, now, you probably have seen this. Maybe you've even done this in your family, where you take a picture and then maybe 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, you reproduce that same picture with the same pose. Well, obviously, you're different. You look different. The other people in the picture look different, and because you've aged, it's nostalgic that you're able to look at that same picture and get in there, get in the area there, and have the same poses and so on and so forth. But it's not something that you're able to actually get in there, and you're not going to be able to replace that picture once it's gone. So those pictures are important. We were able to save all of that for this one customer, and that's important to be able to do that. We were really excited when we were able to get that, because really, if we weren't able to get it, well, their next bet would be to go to an outside data recovery facility, which might cost 500, 1,000, $1,500 to recover the data. Basically, what they can do, they can take the drive into a clean room. If there's a part of the drive that is bad, they can actually diagnose what part that is, replace that part, and get the data off of the drive. It's a very expensive process, though, because it requires a clean room, it requires the expertise, and it requires the spare parts to be able to actually open up a drive, replace the parts that are bad, to be able to go in there. So this is something that we were able to do for this customer. Well, we have another drive that's on our bench here that the customer brought it in, and it has a lot of information. It has a doctoral thesis. Um, you know, what are you going to do if you lose your doctoral thesis? You're going to go back to the professor and say, could you resend me that doctoral thesis? Well, you might be able to if they're more organized than you are. But, how many doctoral theses do you think they've received, and do they save them after they're done with them? Um, you know, so all of this data was on an external hard drive. Well, people don't realize this. Hard drives die. External hard drives die. Even SSD drives die. And in fact, some computers have the SSD drive soldered onto the motherboard, which means that if you have a failure on the motherboard, you're toast. You're not getting your data unless you are going to send that out to a data recovery facility, and maybe they're going to do hardware level, component repair. Maybe they're going to desolder those chips and solder them to another drive where they're going to be able to actually get that data. Well, this is something that, why would you go to all that effort? Um, just have a backup of your data. Uh, so these are the external hard drive with the doctoral thesis and other documents that the customer doesn't have anywhere else. We couldn't get that data off of there. Now, an external hard data recovery facility probably can. With that particular drive. But you're looking at several $100s. In some cases, for us with the one customer that we just recovered their data, it really only cost them $110 to have their data recovered. Now, again, with the data recovery, that we were looking at there was we did an image of the drive, and then we copied that data over to actually two computers. If they only wanted it to go to one computer, it would have been less money, but it would have been $80. But because we went to two computers, it was $110. But you're looking at sometimes when we recover data, it takes us more time, and it's more expensive. I mean, sometimes we're looking at maybe 300, up to $330 to be able to recover data from your computer. Well, these are things that you can actually save yourself that cost by just having a backup. And again, we don't just recommend one backup. We recommend having multiple backups and having some redundancy in your backup so that, if you lose, for some people, if you lose a month's worth of data, that's not all that big of a deal. You might be able to retrieve some of that. For other people, maybe you'd be in difficult situation if you lost one day of your data. We had a situation here at one point where we had a problem with our server, and we were without QuickBooks for a day. I think we had to get back up on QuickBooks, but we didn't have all of our data for about a day, and we literally had computers we were working on in the shop that we didn't have the information in QuickBooks as to what those computers were. So you think, from a business perspective, it's pretty important to have a fairly consistent backup and to have frequent backups. You might make a change to a file. You might actually accidentally delete something that you didn't want to delete, or replace something in a file that causes that file to be corrupted, or not have the data that you need. Maybe you're working on a final paper for a college exam, or you're working on a big presentation for a client. Well, it's very important to be able to have a backup of that type of information. So there are various ways that you can back up, and various ways that we can help you. And certainly, if your drive dies, if you are hit with if your drive dies, we probably can back up your data. Now, if you have fire and theft, fire or theft that destroys or damages or steals your computer and your backup, and you don't have anything, well, unless you have cloud backup, you have nothing. If your data on your computer and on your backup are both encrypted by a crypto locker attack, by a ransomware attack, you're up the creek without a paddle, so to speak. So unless you have a backup, and if you have a backup, just realize if it's only one copy of the files, there's a good chance, if that's been made in the last week, that data is encrypted as well.
With code CBSSA.
You're listening to a Faster PC radio heard on this station every Saturday in the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back for the final segment of today's show. Listen, if you want to get your computer questions answered and you haven't called in, now's your opportunity. In fact, this is your last opportunity coming up, 772-340-1590, 772-340-1590. You can also head over to our Facebook page, and you can actually, from the Facebook page, you can type your computer questions into the comment section of the live video, and we'll cover them on today's show. But you know what? You've got to get over there right now, or give us a call, 772-340-1590, so we can answer your computer questions. Computer problems? You need a Faster PC.
From the founding of our company, a Faster PC has provided our customers with quality service and computer products at competitive prices. We find that in the current economy, this is more important than ever. A Faster PC recently conducted a market survey and found that our prices are the least expensive in the area. Some of our competitors charge twice what we charge. Perhaps that's why more customers are turning to a Faster PC. We're helping our customers save money by repairing their computers rather than replacing them.
Now, wait a minute. You mean a Faster PC saves customers money?
A Faster PC offers the most competitive prices for computer repair in our area.
Wait a minute. Technicians that know what they're doing for less than the competition?
That's right. A Faster PC can handle anything from software installs, virus, spyware, and malware, and those annoying pop-ups, to QuickBooks, Metisoft, and SoftIn support, from wireless networks to hardware networks. Computer problems?
You need a Faster PC.
Conveniently located at 7186 South US 1, Port St. Lucie, and on the web at afasterpc.com. Call 878-5978. Computer problems? You need a Faster PC.
A Faster PC has been here, and as Florida begins to open for business,
The Faster PC.
will remain open to repair computers 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 9 to 2 Saturdays. We offer curbside drop-off and pickup, and on-site service where a Faster PC can come to you. And we can fix many computer problems remotely without requiring any in-person contact. A Faster PC is also working to help our customers set up remote access so that employees can continue to work and be productive from home. Computer problems?
You need a Faster PC.
A Faster PC is conveniently located at 7190 South US 1 next to the new Dollar General in Port St. Lucie, and on the web at
www.afasterpc.com.
that's www.afasterpc.com. For more information, call 878-5978. Again, that's 772-878-5978. Even in times like these, when you have computer problems,
You need a Faster PC.
welcome back to a Faster PC Radio. This is the last segment of today's show. We'd love to answer your computer questions, but if you don't call, we can't answer. Give us a call. The number to have your computer question answered is 772-340-1590, 772-340-1590, or you can hop on over to our Facebook page, A Faster PC, and actually from there, you can type your question into the comment section. So again, just a few more minutes to answer your questions. We did want to remind you also that not only can you ask your questions at the Facebook page or by calling 772-340-1590, but you can also watch the video as well. So some of the questions that I'm answering, as I answer those questions, I'll be able actually to show you the steps that you go through to resolve computer problems. And if you're not where you can watch it right now, that's fine. You can watch it at your convenience shortly after the show's over. It'll be up there on our Facebook page. You can get there one of two ways. Either go to our website of fasterpc.com. We have a link that says listen to a Faster PC radio. If you click on that, it'll take you to our Facebook page, or go to Facebook and search for a Faster PC. We also wanted to remind you that in the shop, we have technicians standing by today to work on computers and resolve computer problems. We're at 7190 South US 1, and our number in the office is 772-878-5978. And of course, we're here to answer your questions. Well, your computer questions, and we could answer other questions, but we're here specifically to answer computer questions. Computer problems? You need a Faster PC.
Yes, and we are back. We are ready to answer your questions. And of course, we have been talking about backups, but your question can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about backup, about the importance of backing up your data, what data is. We've been talking about this and why you would want to have a good backup. And in this segment, what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about some of the ways that you can back up. And of course, a Faster PC does help customers with making sure that you have a good backup, so that if you're having a situation where maybe you have a hard drive failure, or maybe you have a maybe you got tricked into opening up a ransomware attack. Maybe your data on your drive is backed up, and your most recent backup is encrypted. Well, the data on your computer is encrypted. The most recent your most recent actual backup is encrypted as well. Well, hopefully you have multiple backups. Typically, what we have found, by the time that your data is encrypted with a CryptoLocker infection, and typically a lot of times people probably try to figure it out themselves for a few days, but really every day is ticking, and you have to realize that when you have bad data, you don't want to make a backup and replace what you have on the backup that's actually could be good. And how are you making the backup, and what method is making the backup? Is it going to erase your previous backup, or is it just going to add add a second backup? Because there are different ways of backing up. Well, this is something that again, there are different ways, and you want to make sure that you do have protection. What happens if you have a fire? Probably won't happen, but we probably all know someone that did happen to. In fact, you might have a house that burned down in your neighborhood. I mean, I know there are many of our customers that have experienced fires, and in some cases, they lost their computer and their backup because they were in the same location. And what if you have theft, and your backup and your computer are in the same location? It hasn't happened to many of our customers, but I know one of them that, not while we were doing their work, but before we started doing their work, they did have their backup and their computer stolen. So what about sabotage? Well, we've had customers where they're a business customer, they have an employee that gets upset. They get terminated. The employee gets upset. The employee, on their way out, deletes data off of the server, damages the backup as well, so the data can't be recovered that way as well. You want to protect yourself against this type of threat. You never know. Even in a home environment, is it possible that someone that even that you love might get upset with you and might lash out? You never know. You want to be protected. You want to protect yourself, and you want to protect your data. Your data is important. Again, when we talk about data, we're talking about pictures. We're talking about files you've downloaded. We're talking about Word documents, Excel documents, PDF documents, which might be your tax return, might be your bank statements, might be a receipt. If you scan things in, you can have QuickBooks data, Quicken data, TurboTax data. All of this is data. Videos. We have some customers that use very little. Some customers tell us, "Hey, I don't even have any data on the computer," and some of them really don't. A lot of them do have data, but they don't realize it. But some of them really don't have any data on the computer. So, however it is, whatever the case is, we can actually help you with that. So there are different ways to make a backup of your data, and and um, and you can make just a simple copy of your data over to an external hard drive, and and uh, I don't think we might not have enough time to actually demonstrate how to do this on this show, but maybe next week we'll go over that. But so you can make just a copy. We actually also have scripts that we can run, that we can create, that will back up your data. And we're looking first of all at the profile data. We're looking at backing up your contacts, which most people don't use, but occasionally some people use them. We're looking at backing up your documents, your downloads folder, your pictures folder, your videos folder, your music folder. You may not have data in all of those folders, but it doesn't hurt just in case data goes into one of those folders to back them up. If you have other important data that's important to you, that's in another location of your computer, we can back that up as well with a script. So you want to have that's one way you can do it, and we can even do that script so that it encrypts or actually zips the files that are backed up afterward into a custom file name with a custom file extension that is unlikely for, if you're hit with a ransomware, it's unlikely that the ransomware would be able to open that, because it's a custom extension. It doesn't really translate to any other extension that's out there. So those are some things we can do. We can also and you can actually use, and we would recommend that you use, if you're making your own backup and you're storing this backup in yourself, we would recommend that you back up to multiple devices, not at the same time, but maybe one day you back up to one device and you swap that out the next day, or you swap it out the next week or the next month, depending on how often you need to make a backup. There's one of our clients is an HOA office. They pay us to come in every month and make a backup. They also have cloud backup that backs up their files as they change. So they do have an alternate cloud backup, but they want a local backup, and we're coming in and backing that up. And they have two drives, one that is offsite, one that's on-site, and they swap those out periodically. So so we would recommend that you have multiple devices and rotate them out. Keep one near the computer, but keep one, maybe in the trunk of your car, maybe in a safety deposit box. Maybe you're going to keep it at your office if it's backing up data from your home, or maybe you keep a copy at your home from backing up data from the office. Maybe you keep data at the home of someone that you know and trust. So this is something that you definitely want to make sure that you are making backups, and that you are having this data backed up. Well, another way that we can make a backup, and we do this quite often with some of our clients, is we'll come in and install a Cronus. And a Cronus actually can make a system image of your computer. And that image can be restored to to the same. Let's say you have a bad drive. Well, we could come in, we could, without even doing a clean install of Windows, we could just launch the Acronis software, plug in your most recent backup, and we could restore that backup. If you got hit with a ransomware attack, we could come in and restore your most recent backup. Now, let me tell you something. Before we did that, we would want to look and see: is there anything on your computer that's salvageable? Are there any files that are not encrypted? The last client of ours that we had that was hit with a ransomware attack, they were an attorney's office, and they actually had that ransomware attack not only encrypted all of the Word documents, all of the Excel documents, all the PDF documents, all of the JPEG files, which are pictures, all of the GIF files, which are pictures. It also encrypted most of the executable files, so that people couldn't launch Excel, they couldn't launch Word, they couldn't launch Firefox, they couldn't launch Edge, they couldn't launch a browser to be able to go out to the web, and it was spreading across the network because the people, one of the employees had mapped a network drive. So, this is something we by the way come in and we recommend against mapping network drives. Some of our clients do it anyway, and if they get hit, they'll wish they had listened to us. But this is something that with the Acronis backup, you're able to go back and Acronis is able to make a daily backup, a weekly backup, however often you want to make that backup. You can restore files from that. You can also restore the entire computer. And again, just know, if you're hit with a ransomware attack, and let's say you made a backup yesterday, or maybe even a backup 5 days ago, most likely that backup is going to be encrypted. The data is going to be encrypted. But it's worth a try to see if you can go back to that one versus going back to the one before that. And but it takes a little bit of time. But again, having the backup means that maybe you lose, maybe if the last week is encrypted, maybe you can go back to a week before that. You lose 2 weeks of work, but at least you haven't lost everything. And that's what a backup can do for you, is help you to avoid a catastrophic failure, catastrophic downtime, and catastrophic loss of data. Those pictures that you're not going to be able to replace, those pictures that you're not going to be, the videos that you're not going to be able to replace, the files and the documents. Maybe you've sent someone an email. Maybe you can retrieve it from your email program, but maybe that's encrypted also. So you want to actually, there are ways to get your data back, sometimes workarounds, but you want to be able to have a good copy and to know that, what, if my home gets hit with a missile, probably your files are maybe not the most important thing, but files, they're important. Pictures are important. You don't want to lose those types of things. In fact, some of those types of things are some of the most devastating parts of losing that type of information, or that type of catastrophe. And we're coming to the end of today's show, but if you've missed any part of this show, or just want to listen to it again or watch it again, because you can do that at our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can not only hear the show, but also see the show. And when we've described and shown you how to resolve computer problems, you can actually see that and watch it over and over again at our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. You can get there by going to our website at fasterpc.com and clicking on the links. We're open today until 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, we're open from 9 to 5. And next Saturday, we'll be open from 9 to 2. We want to invite you to listen to our church radio show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. here on WPSL. The title to tomorrow's sermon is A New Year, New Opportunities for a Better, More Improved You. You can listen to other sermons on our church website, covenanttabernacle.com, or
Okay, Brian, thank you so much, my friend.
okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Until next time. I just see
Okay.
it worked out kind of good this time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.